Your liver handles over 500 essential functions every single day. It is the ultimate filtration bottleneck for your entire body, processing every toxin, medication, and drop of excess fuel you consume. When that bottleneck gets congested, people often assume they need to add something to their diet to clear it out. They spend serious time and money on liver detox smoothies, antioxidant supplements, and obscure plant extracts, only to find their fatty liver markers haven't budged. The problem lies in treating a complex organ failure like a simple headache. Taking a pill or drinking a targeted green juice blocks the symptom temporarily, but it does nothing if the root cause of the organ damage continues uninterrupted. Imagine drinking a small glass of toxic lake water every morning, getting sick, and then taking a multivitamin to try and cure the nausea. The vitamin might provide a tiny buffer, but you will never actually get healthy until you stop drinking the poisoned water. Your liver operates on a strict principle of bandwidth. Metabolic health is determined by the specific burdens you subtract from your diet, not the magical remedies you add to it. To actually heal a congested liver, you have to trade the easy illusion of eating a new superfood for the rigid reality of root cause elimination. Let's clear up a massive point of confusion. Eating a piece of saturated fat does not mean your body directly deposits that saturated fat into your liver. That is not how human digestion works. Look at this diagram of your liver's bandwidth. The saturated fat stored in a human liver is actually manufactured by the body itself, using a process called biotransformation. When you consume excess fuel, your liver acts as the funnel, efficiently converting that extra energy into fat for long-term storage. But the liver is the exclusive processing center for specific substances. When you consume high amounts of alcohol or large doses of fructose, they hit the funnel simultaneously. Because every single cell in your body cannot process these compounds, they create an immediate choke point in the liver. Give the organ more biotransformation tasks than it can handle, and the backlog spills over. That excess, unprocessed fuel rapidly converts into fat directly inside the organ tissue. When you pair this constant state of overflow with a high insulin environment, which tells your body to aggressively store energy, that fat becomes locked inside the liver. The organ becomes congested, rigid, and entirely insulin resistant. Fatty liver is a math problem of excess carbohydrates and congested bandwidth, meaning standard dietary advice is often counterproductive for a damaged liver. Navigating dietary advice requires knowing exactly which category you fall into. You are either an insulin-sensitive maintainer looking to preserve health, or an insulin-resistant reverser, actively trying to empty a fatty liver. The rules for these two groups are entirely different. This comparison matrix breaks down the exact impacts. The first food class is a universal roadblock for both metabolic states: fructose. People assume that the sugar found naturally in fruit is processed differently than the sugar in a candy bar. The biological reality is that fructose is fructose. Whether you eat a massive bowl of pineapple or a handful of gummy bears, your liver treats them identically, and only your liver is forced to process that payload. The second universal blocker covers fried foods and industrial seed oils. Polyunsaturated vegetable oils are highly unstable. To prevent them from going rancid on a shelf, manufacturers subject them to harsh chemical bleaching and deodorizing. Consuming these highly oxidized inflammatory fats forces your liver to expend resources cleaning up the resulting systemic damage. Now we get to the foods that cause the most confusion: conditional carbs. This includes oatmeal, lentils, whole grains, and rice. As the matrix shows, these have wildly different effects depending on your starting point. On the maintainer side, a person with high insulin sensitivity can consume these starches, convert them to glucose, and burn them off as cheap, accessible energy without causing any structural damage to their organs. But on the reverser side, those same starches are disastrous. If you have a fatty liver, your baseline insulin is already far too high. Adding oatmeal or brown rice to your system drives that insulin even higher, which physically signals your liver to stop burning fat and start storing it. To force the body to clear this massive biological backlog, the reverser has to be infinitely stricter. You cannot simply eat a slightly healthier version of a starch. You have to remove the starch completely to drop your insulin levels. What acts as a perfectly fine fuel source for a healthy system acts as an active biological roadblock for someone trying to heal. This updated matrix shows the foods that actually facilitate the export of fat from your liver, and they directly contradict standard nutritional advice: eggs and red meat. These foods provide specific nutrients for liver export. Pastured eggs are rich in choline, which is required for the body to move fat out of the liver for burning. Meat provides high amounts of methionine, a direct precursor your body uses to manufacture its own most powerful antioxidant, glutathione. I know we've been conditioned to fear the saturated fat and cholesterol found in these cartoons, but when you eliminate the massive carbohydrate load from your diet and lower your baseline insulin, that dietary saturated fat transitions from being a storage liability into a highly stable, non-inflammatory energy source. The only carbohydrate exception for a reverser is cruciferous greens, like broccoli, cabbage, and Brussels sprouts. They are incredibly low in glucose, but contain vital chemical compounds that physically assist the liver's detoxification pathways without spiking your insulin. This flowchart illustrates another crucial choice: your source of omega-3 fatty acids. Plant-based sources like flaxseed oil require your body to manually convert them into the usable forms, EPA and DHA. If your metabolism is broken and your liver is congested, your body largely lacks the functional capacity to perform that conversion. The flaxseed oil enters the system, hits a biological wall, and fails to provide the required nutrients. To get real anti-inflammatory return on your investment, you need highly bioavailable animal sources like fish oil or pastured eggs. These bypass that barrier entirely, delivering the exact fatty acids your cell membranes desperately need, without requiring any extra processing. Furthermore, high-quality meat and eggs are exceptionally low allergen. Unlike soy, modern wheat, or heavy grain consumption, beef does not trigger the systemic immune responses that add to the liver's daily stress load. Reversing disease is about efficiency. You must choose foods with the highest possible bioavailability, and that means abandoning standard dietary fearmongering to access the tools your liver actually uses. This side-by-side flowchart maps out your actual options. It contrasts the failed approach of symptom management against the hard reality of root cause elimination. Looking at the left path, you can see why adding a handful of walnuts or drinking green tea to offset a diet high in processed carbs is a mathematical impossibility. A minor antioxidant boost will never outpace the damage of a flooded biotransformation funnel. For the reverser, the required trade-off is absolute. You must execute a strict, uncompromising elimination of all grains, beans, high-sugar fruits, and industrial seed oils. Dropping insulin through strict elimination is the only way to open the metabolic drain and empty the liver stores. For the maintainer, the protocol allows for moderate, calculated consumption of whole food starches and natural fruits, paired with high-quality animal proteins to sustain energy. But that freedom requires honest self-monitoring. Maintainers must track their responses to ensure they keep their metabolic flexibility and don't slowly slide into insulin resistance. Your liver does not care about clever marketing labels, the difference between added or natural sugar, or whether a magazine designated a food a superfood. It only obeys the strict physical laws of biological capacity. Once you clear those bottlenecks, the liver's capacity to heal and regenerate its tissue is unmatched by any other human organ. True health isn't achieved by searching for a magical nutritional addition. It is achieved by respecting the organ's bandwidth and decisively subtracting the exact dietary burdens that cause the congestion in the first place.